Hey guys, it's Daniela, and this week's theme on Wowzerfying Squad is freestyle. Actually, it's not just freestyle this week. We are doing freestyle month. So the whole month is freestyle. So, first of all, did you guys miss me? I know it has been a minute since I have uploaded a video on Wowzerfying Squad, and I did not intend. This was an unintentional break. I did not intend to not post for like 3 months, but I didn't post for about 3 months. And so in this video, I want to give you guys kind of a life update and kind of tell you guys what I've been up to, what's been happening in my life, things like that. And yeah, because even though it's been quite some time since I've made a video on this channel, I haven't disappeared completely from the face of the earth. I have been occupied, and I want to tell you guys what I've been up to. So before we get started with the video, I also want to say, even though yes, I have been busy, I have been doing stuff, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I didn't have time to upload, because I'm going to be completely honest, part of the reason why I didn't upload on this channel for quite some time was because I have been slacking, and like I want to be fully transparent about that. I have had time. Like, I'm not going to sit here and like, yes, I've been busy, but I haven't been so busy that I didn't have any time, you know? So I am going to fully admit that I could have uploaded way more in the last few months, and I didn't. And so like, I just want to sit here and be fully transparent about that. And I'm not making this video to say like, oh, I haven't had any time. I just kind of felt like coming on here and just updating you guys on my life, because, you know, a lot of things have happened, and I want to tell you guys what I've been doing. And I figured it was about time for me to come back to making videos on this channel. So no, I did not leave Wowzerfying Squad. I just took an unintentional break. And when I say unintentional, like, this was not planned. I just kind of slacked off. And I'm not going to put myself down and say like, oh, because yes, I have been busy. Like, I haven't, like, I've been doing stuff, but I also definitely have had time. So I don't want to sit here and pretend like that was the case, that I didn't have time, because that was not the case at all. So yeah, so I want to give you guys a life update since it is freestyle month. And you know what freestyle means? It means we get to do whatever we want, which is always amazing. So I wanted to come on here and just tell you guys what I've been up to. So the last video that I uploaded on Wowzerfying Squad was my video where I talked about my 6 years on collab channels. And it was a video similar to this, where I just kind of sat on my bed and talked to the camera. Yeah, and so what has happened since then? So I, first of all, I started getting into yoga, which has been amazing, and I really enjoy doing yoga. And my mom actually is the one who got me into yoga, because my mom has been doing yoga for a long time now. And doing yoga with my mom is one of my favorite things to do. We have been attending yoga classes together, and I've been doing it at home, and it's just been really amazing, and I'm so glad that I got into yoga. Pretty much the main reason why I started doing it is because I suffer from anxiety. I've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and there have been times, this is not an everyday thing, but this has happened maybe about like once a month, the last few months before I started getting into yoga, once a month I would have a panic attack. I don't want to like talk too much about that because I don't want to make this video too long. I just kind of want to talk about, you know, getting into yoga and all that. But there would be times when I would have panic attacks that would kind of be correlated with with nausea. Like I would start to get nauseous, and I'm also emetophobic, which means I have a fear of puking, and it's a thing. I hate it, and so that was basically what was happening. Like I would have panic attacks that would be they would be fueled by, like, I would start to feel nauseous, and then it was a whole thing. Yeah, so I started doing yoga every day, in the hopes that that would help me with my mental health. And let me just say that it has been so good for me. I have not had a panic attack since I started doing yoga every day. So I am so glad that I started doing it, and I really enjoy it, and like I love yoga so much, and it's been so good for me. It's done so many good things. Like I've noticed myself being a lot happier these days, which is always a plus. And I just love yoga, and yeah, so that's the first thing that happened. I started getting into yoga, and I do it every day now. So yeah. Another thing that has happened, me and my friend Rena, who lives in a different state, we got together and spent about a week together. You guys probably know Rena if you've been watching my videos for a while, because she is also on YouTube. That's actually how we met and how we discovered each other, is through YouTube. And we don't get to see each other very often because we live in different states. And about 2 months ago, we got together for the first time in about 4 years. And it was so much fun. Basically what we did, she came down, she flew into my city, and she stayed at my house for a few days, and we went out and did stuff together. It was a lot of fun. And then we both got on a plane and we went to Chicago, and we had an absolute blast in Chicago. It was so much fun, and yeah, we had a great time. And I have so many fun memories from that trip that I will cherish forever, and it was so fun. So yeah, and then shortly after I returned from my trip, I caught Miss Rona. Yeah, so that happened. And so I tested positive for Miss Rona, and I caught it for the very first time. So yes, I was one of those lucky people who managed to avoid it for 2 years. But then I inevitably caught it shortly after the trip. I am glad that it happened after the trip, because we didn't have to cancel the trip. Fun fact, Rena actually had it just before the trip, but she recovered just in time to not have to cancel the trip. So yeah, so she tested positive about a week and a half before she came down to visit me, and then like a week later, she told me, like, hey, by the way, like I tested positive, and yeah, and so we were just hoping that she would recover before the trip, and she did, so we didn't have to cancel it. But then I caught it a few days after I returned. I'm about 99% sure that I caught it on the airplane coming home. because I was, I was on an airplane with people, breathing the same air as them for 2 hours. So either I caught it on the airplane or I caught it on the train the day before I came back home, because on our last day of the trip, we took a train into the city, and we went out and about and did stuff, and when we were returning back to our hotel, when we got back on the train, we were actually stuck on the train longer than expected, because there was a thunderstorm in Chicago, and that caused delays. So we were stuck on the train before it actually departed. So we were on there for a while. So I caught it either there or on the plane coming back home. And I was totally fine. Like, I didn't even feel any symptoms until about 3 days after I came back home. I started feeling kind of tired and lethargic, and kind of symptoms of a cold, and I didn't really think much of it at first, because I was just like, oh, it could just be allergies. But then that night, I started to feel a little worse. I had body aches and the chills and stuff, and so that at that point was when I started to become more and more sure that it wasn't just allergies. And so the next morning, I took a test and it was positive. So, and I wasn't too surprised about that, because I was feeling the classic symptoms the night before. So yes, I tested positive, but luckily I didn't have a horrible case. For me, it was mostly just symptoms of a cold. Honestly, the more annoying part was having to put a mask on every time I had to leave my room. But like, I had to keep my family protected, so like it was necessary, but it was annoying to have to put it on every time I leave my room, you know what I mean? So yeah, the night before I tested positive was actually when it hit me the worst. After that, it was not as bad, and I did feel some mild symptoms, but in the long run, it was not that bad. I just had to quarantine in my room for a few days. And also, the most lucky part is that I did not lose my taste or smell, which I was so glad that I did not lose it, because I was so afraid that that would happen. By the time I tested positive, I hadn't eaten anything since dinner the previous night, which was before I started feeling worse. And so my lunch the day I tested positive was the first thing I ate, to test if I could still taste and stuff, which I could, so I was glad about that. Yeah, I luckily did not have to cancel any plans during my quarantine, so that was nice. However, I would have if it wasn't already canceled. So basically what happened was, the week I ended up in quarantine, that week I was originally supposed to be a counselor at a orchestra camp that I had been attending for years. And this camp, like this year was going to be the first time it was back in 3 years. So the past 2 years it had been canceled, and they were going to come back this year, but they had to cancel it because there was an outbreak in the building where the camp was going to take place. And so about a week before the camp was supposed to happen, I get an email saying that they had to cancel it. I actually got this email while I was in Chicago, while I was having so much fun, like, I got this email and I saw it, and like, it was just weird timing, like, for me to find that out, because it was like, it was on the most fun day of the trip, and then I get that news. So I was disappointed, and I was hoping that they would change their minds about canceling it and then bring it back, but unfortunately that wasn't able to happen. But then that ended up being a blessing in disguise, because I ended up testing positive anyways, which would have been more disappointing, I'm not gonna lie, if it was never canceled, and like, and I'd hyped myself up to the day that I would have left for counselor training, which was the same day I tested positive. Like, imagine if I'd been so looking for, I mean, a week before it was supposed to happen, it was already short enough notice, but imagine if it wasn't canceled and I was hyping myself up to the day that it was going to happen, and then I test positive, and then I have to tell them, unfortunately, I won't be able to attend camp. That would have been more disappointing, if I'm being honest. So it was disappointing, and I wish that A, it wasn't canceled, and B, I didn't test positive, because then I would have been able to be a counselor at camp. But it was a blessing in disguise. So that's on that. I recovered pretty quickly. I was in quarantine for maybe about a week, and I recovered. So I returned back to my normal life. Yeah, and so after my quarantine, I did some volunteering, which was a lot of fun. I volunteered at some chamber music concerts, which was really cool. So basically, there is this chamber music camp that I used to go to for many years, and at this camp there's also concerts, like, at the end of the week. There's like some chamber group comes and basically plays a concert, and the campers get in the concert for free, but the public also can buy tickets. So it's like a chamber music festival. So basically I volunteered at those concerts. Pretty much what I did was I stuffed programs. You know, if you've ever been to a classical music concert, sometimes you see like a little half sheet of paper inside the program. That's basically what I was doing. I was putting those into the programs, and I was, you know, taking people's tickets, things like that. I actually decided to reach out and do this as something to make up for not being able to be a camp counselor this year. So after I got the news that the other camp was canceled, I reached out to this chamber music camp, and I was very familiar with the camp because I had gone to this camp, and I basically volunteered to help out at the concerts. So that was a really cool opportunity. I have also been volunteering at this place, basically like this food pantry type place, like a place that serves like homeless people / people who can't afford to buy their groceries and things like that. So I've been volunteering at a place like that, and it's been really cool. I haven't actually interacted with any of the people that the program serves. I've been doing more of the like behind the scenes stuff. Pretty much what I've been doing the last few weeks, once a week, is I would wake up at 7:30, which is probably the only downside to doing this, is the fact that it's in the morning, or at least the particular shift that I was doing is in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. So that was the only downside. But because the shift started at like 8:30 and it went for like 2 hours. So basically what I've been doing is I am a grocery assistant. So basically what that means is I have been helping to like unload the groceries. So they would like buy all the groceries and deliver them in a truck, and we would help unload them and organize them and whatnot. So I've been doing that, and it's been really cool. Except the fact that I have to get up because this particular shift happens to be in the morning. But it's worth it. And it's hard work, but it's a really cool opportunity. So yeah, so I've been doing some volunteering. I have also been taking an online history class to get some credits out of the way. And I actually just finished everything that I had to do for that class. So yay! I just finished my US history class. And I am so freaking glad that I'm done with US history, because US history has never been my subject. I have a history, no pun intended, of struggling in US history classes. This particular class was actually not very hard. That being said, it was still not the most interesting thing for me. It's just not my favorite subject. You know, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. US history is not my forte. So even though the class itself was actually pretty easy, it's just like it just wasn't the most fun thing. So I am very glad that now that I'm done with that class, I no longer have to worry about taking another US history class ever again, because I already got all of my required US history credits done, because I did the same thing last year, and this year I did my second required semester of it. So yay, I'm done with that. So yeah, and basically this was an online class, and it was self-paced, which was really nice because I didn't have to worry about like having to go on campus and stuff. And you know, especially because I'm currently living at home. I will go back to my apartment in a few weeks when the semester starts, but yeah, I'm not staying in my apartment for the break. So I'm glad that I didn't have to worry about having to commute to campus every day. So yeah, so that's basically what I've been up to. So to recap, I went on a trip first thing that happened was I got into yoga, and I discovered that I love yoga. And let me also just point out that I've never really been into working out. Like, it's just never been like something that I got into. But yoga is now my favorite type of workout. So yeah, so to recap, I got into yoga and discovered how much I love it. I went on a trip with my friend and had so much fun, and then I caught Miss Rona, and then I did volunteering, and I took a online history class. So that's what I've been up to. Yeah, so that's my life update. This video is probably super long. I did not intend to make it this long. Like, I tell myself, like, okay, I'm only gonna talk for a few minutes, and then I just ramble on for like half an hour. So yeah, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I hope to be better about posting. But of course, school is going to start pretty soon, so we'll see how I do on that. But I definitely will try to do better and to not go this long without uploading. So yeah. So anyways, with that said, I don't forget to have a wowzifying day filled with lots of wowzerness, and I'll see you guys in my next video, whenever that will be. Peace out, y'all. Woo!